Showtime, showtime, showtime. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of The Final Circle. Thank you guys so much for subscribing to the channel and sharing and liking and reposting as well. I've been having so much fun shooting these episodes for you guys, and I did take a look at the comment section. So the most requested thing was tips on improving gameplay as an esports athlete or as a potential esports athlete. This is going to be a very interesting one to look at because, you know, I can speak from experience. I am an esports athlete. I have participated at ridiculously higher levels than most. So yes, I am the right person to ask this question. You're welcome. Thank you guys so much for believing in me to give you the right answers. So here I am to save you again and give you guys a little bit of let me say maybe top five things that you should do if you're trying to become the best version of yourself as an esports athlete, or someone that's trying to, you know, become an esports athlete off the rip. Again, the duration for this can vary based off of your skill sets and your dedication. First things first, you gotta be dedicated, bro. Like, it's not half and half. You have to, you know, fully commit, fully grind. So first things first is number one, understanding the mechanics. Yeah, that's what I would say. Or mastering the fundamentals. Every game you participate in, be it FC25, Street Fighter, Tekken, Call of Duty Mobile, PUBG Mobile, there's fundamentals. You know, there's the baseline, the thing that the game is built on. You just have to master that aspect of the game, the fundamentals, the nitty-gritty, you know, the stuff that the game relies on to play the way it does. The movements, the aiming, you know, all of those intricate details. You have to master those before trying to build on top of that, because before you can build a combo in a game like Mortal Kombat, for example, MK1, if you're trying to build a combination, like let's say something that gives you like 40 hits or 50 hits, it starts with the first hit. And that first hit is the fundamental. That is the first thing you have to do before you can, you know, do a fatality or, you know, name it, whatever you guys call it in the Mortal Kombat space. But I'm just using Mortal Kombat as an example because every single combination blow in Mortal Kombat is built on the first blow. The first blow or the first strike you make, that is what is going to be built on. So you have to master the fundamentals of that one before you now decide you want to build the combo. But before the combo is built, you gotta start with the first blow, or the first kick, or whatever it's called. I could really care less about the nomenclature of Mortal Kombat 1, but again, it is an esports title, so why not? So yeah, I would say number one, master the fundamentals. Number two is this: you watch and you learn from others. Simple as that. I mean, I played PUBG Mobile, you know, and I watched a lot of content from the likes of Coffin, Levino, Sevu, provided these guys aren't esports athletes, but they understood the fundamentals. Again, we go back to the fundamentals of the mechanics of the game. You have to go back to that. So you have to watch people that understand the fundamentals. There's certain ways certain players will play this game, and you look at it and you're like, it looks oddly familiar. Yes, because they keep doing the exact same thing, but they find more creative ways to do it. So that is why you have to watch from others. You have to watch and learn, pick up things from better players than yourself. Before you now talk about, you know, looking at the esports athletes, you know, like Shifan, Paraboy, and the rest of the other guys that were in the PUBG Mobile space, you know, before you look at their content, you also have to look at, you know, the day-to-days, the regular content creators as well. So you look at their content, you copy, you pick it up, and you advance your style. You know, you pick up your own style, but it again is all about building off the first blow, the first punch, the first thing. And number two is to watch and learn from others. Others that are better than you, not that you just can't be watching anybody that just carry phone and start playing, say, you know, like, you know, some of these TikTokers, they are not good, don't watch them. No, I'm just kidding, man. Consume all the content you want. it's your phone, or it's your phone. You can watch anything you like. Then number 3, I would say communicate effectively. You know, as an esports athlete, you have to communicate, especially with team-based games. I would talk, because this is much more specific to team-based games. I would say, yeah, communicate effectively. Just communicate. The strength of a team lies in how well they understand each other. So I would say communicate effectively. If you want to be great, you are only as great as the worst player on your team. That is just the fact. You're only as strong as your weakest link. So yeah, if you want to be a very, very good, athlete, a very, very top tier esports professional, you always have to communicate concisely, precisely, and effectively as well. Effective communication breaks down all sorts of barriers. So yeah, you always have to look out for these things. Be better at communicating. Communicating is not a one-way thing. It's not just start yapping, start talking. No, it's a back and forth, communication. I tell you, you tell me. No coconut head is allowed in communication, please. If you're trying to communicate, clear and concise. I tell you, you tell me, and then I tell you again, then you tell me again. Communication, so you talk, and you listen, you talk again, you listen. It's like that. So yeah, the more you do it, the better at it you're going to get. That's just for a fact. You just have to always look out for, communicating effectively. When you talk, someone has to listen, and then when they listen and they've picked up on what you've the message or the information you've passed across, again, in high stakes situations, because I sound very chill does not necessarily mean that the communication is going to come in a chill fashion. Some of you have, teammates that can be screaming at the top of their lungs when they're trying to communicate. It's allowed though. Nobody said it's not allowed, yeah? It's a real thing. If you have teammates that are screaming at the top of their lungs while you're in the game, it is their way of communicating. It only has to serve 3 purposes. It has to be effective, it has to be concise, and it has to be precise. So if the person is screaming at the top of their lungs and it meets those criteria, you can't fault them. You really can't fault them, So you always have to factor those things in. So yeah, but I'm not the type that communicates like that, I'm a chill guy. Number 4 is analyze your gameplay. This is where content comes really, really key, because if you can record what you do, or if you can stream, because it's always going to give you an edge as an esports athlete. If you can record or you can stream your content, you can always go back, review, analyze, and see what you did right and how to do it even much more effectively, and what you did wrong and why you should never do shit like that again. Yes. So if you're going to look through, always analyze. Every single tournament or every single training session you go through, or any single game you play, you analyze, you look. I could have done this better. I could have done that better. I could have gone through this way. I could have gone through that way. Is my teammate's fault? Yes, that is analysis. It is my teammate's fault is valid analysis. Sometimes you didn't do anything wrong. Sometimes your teammate is at fault, and you must tell them that they were at fault. Nobody is gonna beat you, except your teammate can actually beat your ass. But if they can't beat your ass, tell them that it was their fault. But again, it's all about effective communication. You still have to communicate that properly, not that you go, not now you go and say the wrong thing. If you go around, you're gonna find out. So, but there's that as well. So yeah, always analyze, especially as a team. Look through your game, look through the style of play. What does it work? What can you change? What can you do better? Always, you always gotta improve. You always gotta learn. The more consistent you are with analyzing your gameplay, yeah, I think you're going to, that's one of the strong attributes of a very, very solid esports athlete. And number 5 would be patience. Yeah, patience. Just patience and staying positive. I would say maybe patience, positivity, consistency all together. If you have those 3 attributes, working with you alongside your your goal of trying to be an esports athlete, playing at the top level, you always got to be patient. Yeah, you always got to be patient. That's just the reality of it. You just got to be patient. Don't do too much, but don't do too little either. Stay between the threshold of trying to be a solid athlete by being patient and by being positive. Positivity is a mindset. You just gotta lock in. You just gotta lock in. That's all. So that brings us to the end of this episode of the Final Circle. I just gave you guys a breakdown of a couple of tips on what you would need to be a top tier esports athlete. Thank you, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Big shout out to every one of you again. So let me know in the comment section what video you want to see next, and we are going to shoot that video if I'm in the mood.